Sometimes I get sent a game for review that's about to come out and I've never heard of it, and I usually open it up and say, yeah, this is cool, but not really for me. Or sometimes it's something I can't comprehend someone would actually want me to play. But I never stop trying them out, because here and there you get a nice surprise. May I present to you EXOPHOBIA, a retro-style Metroidvania FPS from first-time developers Zark Attack. I'm typically not a fan of Metroidvanias, I get a bit tired of the giant maps after a while, but I've put in about 7 hours here and I'm having a pretty good time. The graphical style is obviously simple, but it's fairly charming. It's limited to red and blue, but it surprisingly didn't bore me like I was afraid it would. The different floors of the map do a pretty good job of differentiating themselves visually despite being so limited in color variation. Though, yes, after a while, as the game goes on and the map gets bigger and bigger, the limitation does start to become a bit too much, for me at least. I got to talk to the dev a little bit, and he said that the visual style was inspired by his love for old Game Boy titles and browser games, because he didn't have consoles as a kid, so this kind of aesthetic has a special meaning for him. That's pretty cool. There's a great atmosphere going on between the look of the game and the moody but rhythmic music in the background. I got really immersed in the experience, exploring, fighting, piecing the map together in my mind. The level design is really good, lots of secrets that reward you with health upgrades or pieces of story, a lot of them requiring a keen eye and a bit of creativity. You'll definitely get lost a lot, this is a Metroidvania of course, but when you figure out where you're going and how old areas connect to your new abilities to grant access to upgrades and boss fights, it's exciting. Like I said, I don't have a lot of patience for the Metroidvania genre. I prefer my map exploration to be self-contained, like in survival horror games. But I respect what they're doing here, and I think it's done pretty well. The issues really are the limited color palette, which I do like, but it starts to make comprehension of the map kind of confusing later on. And the map that you actually look at while exploring does not allow you to move it and plan your route. You can only see the areas next to you, unless you go to a save station where you can look at a map of the whole ship. It's a weird design, maybe other Metroidvanias are like this, but I'm not used to it. I don't mind it so much, I adapted, but the map also runs on a battery for some reason. Yeah, your laser pistol has infinite energy, but your map runs out of power after like 1 minute of use. It's kinda dumb, but I did get into the rhythm of checking it very quickly as I moved around to keep it charged. My only serious issue with the map is the lack of information on it. Nothing you discover is marked on it, not even important locked doors necessary for progress, and I'm just not a fan of finding a keycard and then looking at a giant map of 4 floors and having no idea where that one locked door was that I saw 45 minutes ago. Yeah, I guess you can say it's old school, but I mean, Resident Evil 1 is old school from 1996, and they marked locked doors on the map once you found them. I seriously hope the developer considers at least an option to mark these important doors, because the aimless wandering around was really starting to drag me down near the end of my playtime. I found a key, I ran all over the 4 floors in this part of the map, I found nothing, and I just wasn't excited about backtracking all the way back to the beginning of the game and checking every floor around there. I'm kinda burnt out. So let's talk about the combat. There's some interesting stuff going on. Enemies are simple, as you'd expect from a game that looks like this, but in the types of enemies, there's a lot of variety. Shooters, shield guys, runners, flamethrower guys that run at you and explode when they die, robots that shoot spread projectiles and electric trails on the ground to stun you, plants that spit and disorient you, and the boss fights, oh man, that's where it's at. Bosses get more and more complex, with my current favorite being this teleporting guy that swings a shock chain in the air while homing projectiles are coming at you. You seriously have to learn how to move and target quickly and use the right attacks. It's fun. Speaking of attacks, let's get into what I really want to talk about with EXOPHOBIA. The challenge matters philosophy, which I talk about all the time on this channel, that games should push you into the fun way to play through challenge. But a big part of that philosophy is also player education. Players need to learn and get into regularly using the tools that will lead to them having fun, and EXOPHOBIA is a masterclass in player education. First of all, let me tell you that you should adjust the difficulty in the options menu. The game, for some reason, doesn't let you pick the difficulty at the beginning, or at least it didn't in my review copy. Make sure you're not playing on a level that's too easy for you. Enemies will move and attack faster on higher difficulties, and that seriously changes how the game plays. So you start out with an energy pistol, fighting simple shooters and runners, and your options are shoot and slide. Your projectile is kinda slow, and it collides with enemy projectiles, so you need to time your shots or make sure to avoid their line of fire. Slide attack will stun, setting up a free shot. The runners get in your face and mess you up, so you slide them to stop their approach. Soon you come up on shield guys blocking all your shots. So I thought, what if I slide into them? Shield goes down, shoot to kill. Very nice, making me feel like the mechanics are necessary to engage with. But the next shield guy had me thinking, do I have to slide them? Or is this game a little more dynamic, giving me other options? So I tried timing my bullets so that they'd hit him right as he drops his shield to shoot at me. Sure enough, it worked. I figured that out on my own, but then the game, knowing that engaging shield guys this way too is important, sets another shield guy far away so you can't slide him. Behind him is a button you have to press to open the next door, so the player has to figure out that these guys have a second vulnerability, being shot when their shield drops, and you must kill him to shoot the button. That's when I started thinking, oh, these developers are smart. They're making me do all the fun stuff. And if you get the player to engage in the fun stuff early on, they're more likely to continue doing the fun stuff and look for more fun stuff, instead of falling into boring habits that are easy to win with. Yes, come on EXOPHOBIA, keep it up. I see where you're trying to take me, and I'm all in. The smart player education applies to level progression as well. Boxes with red X's can be shot and contain items. And then you shoot a box that has a key in it, but you can't reach it. It's blocked by boxes without red X's. Can those be broken too? Not just the red ones? Would you look at that? The game is teaching me about all my options by putting me into situations where I have to figure it out. Now I know that I can break those boxes blocking the door I just saw, and now I have a new way to go. It seems like really basic stuff, but it's being introduced so smoothly and it's impossible not to see. I had a huge smile on my face for the first 30 minutes or so, because EXOPHOBIA was building upon itself moment after moment, and I was imagining that the combat is going to start getting really smart along with the level design. But then I got the pistol upgrade, and the pistol turns into a charge pistol, an infinite ammo charge pistol that instantly kills most things in these early levels. Where have I heard that one before? And now everything interesting about the combat goes out the window. Basic shooting enemy, charge pistol. Runner, charge pistol. Shield guys, charge pistol. Flamethrower, charge pistol. The smart combat just disappears and I felt like the game was falling apart. I honestly got upset. It was so early in the game, I was still learning, and they handed me this overpowered, easy option that trivializes everything. I was ready to dive into some deep combat mechanics. The good news is that after a while, maybe an hour, the combat starts getting intense enough to demand smarter play. Using slide, using explosive barrels, using the base fire shot of the pistol. And when you get the shockwave ability, you're able to insta-kill certain enemies with it, destroy surrounding projectiles, and put anyone into a stun state. Certain enemies like plants are projectile invulnerable and must be killed with shockwave, and certain bosses have to be stunned before they can be shot. When things get crazy, when you're locked in a combat room, if you're just running around spamming charge shot, it's very easy to get cornered and feel pressured into using a shockwave or a slide attack. Dying doesn't respawn you here, it sends you back to the last checkpoint or save, so death feels pretty bad because of the time loss. You gotta play better. I was really happy to see the game find itself after a rocky period of mindless charge pistol spam. Between the combat rooms, the ambushes, and the challenging boss fights, EXOPHOBIA proved to be a smart, well-designed game that kept me engaged during the action and curious about exploration. As you come across new areas, the actions you have to do to progress get more and more interesting, with some genuinely fascinating puzzle design that'll have you scratching your head, but feeling smart when you figure it out. Puzzle solutions involve logic, coordination, and speed. A lot of this game is good, and on an appropriate difficulty setting, you can have a lot of fun in the combat. But even though the game can certainly keep you on your toes in individual moments, there's a big flaw that deflates a lot of the overall combat challenge, and that's the health system. You find healing items through exploration and as you're just naturally progressing, but you also get a free 100% heal anytime you enter a save station. There are several save stations per floor, there's no cost to save, so there's nothing to stop you from taking a bunch of damage, running back 15 seconds to the save station, and getting a free heal. I wish they'd gone with healing items only, or maybe having to purchase a full heal with credits so you can't abuse it, because the way it is now doesn't inspire good overall strategy. Individual combat rooms can still be challenging, but the rest has this super attractive, cheesy option that brings the game down a bit. I understand wanting to heal the player before a boss fight, that's fine, but I think the general health system should be rethought. EXOPHOBIA is just too good to have something like this hurting it. The Metroidvania aspect, like I said, is not for me and keeps this from being a game I want to fully stick with, but it's certainly enough to make my best of the year list, and it's an easy recommendation to anyone looking for a heavily exploration and puzzle-based shooter with pretty decent action and some really good boss fights. Thank you to Zarkatak for sending me EXOPHOBIA, it was a lovely surprise.